This group is, I remember we were on Get Up and Jay Will said, there's a window that now looks to be open for the next 3 years. And I was like, 3 years? Come on now. They got some role players that are having a great run. Like, come on. But honestly, when you look at what they're able to do in terms of developing talent, the way that Steph is completely locked in and continues to work on his body, I loved the quote from him where he was talking about a year ago, he was working on his body for this year's finals. There's nothing that the Warriors organization does without a finals and a championship in mind. So could you see them repeating? I absolutely think that's feasible. Like, that is legitimately feasible. I wonder, out of the East, how much the Celtics grow. I wonder if the Bucks are healthy, who could be their possible biggest threat. But if they continue to stay healthy and those role players continue to grow, you know what you're going to get out of Steph Curry. Draymond Green, you know what you're going to get from him. I think Klay is getting better and getting back to form. I don't think that he reached pre-injury form this season, but I think that's in the forecast.
We got to let you go.
It's really hard.
Let me say this real quick. People need to mention the name Joe Lacob, the owner for the Golden State Warriors. He ain't playing. This man wants Jerry Buss numbers. He wants to surpass the Lakers and the and the Boston Celtics.
Yep.
This is not a man that is sitting around and saying, I got 4 now and I'm good. This is a man that's saying, I got 4. We gonna get 5 next year.
All in.
Like immediately.
Strength in numbers.
The night they won the title. That's 4. That's 4. He's coming and he's willing to spend the money. Beware.
Okay, Monica.
The only thing that I will add
is
they continue to be the standard. Obviously, people are coming for them. And so winning is never something we should take for granted. That's all I can.
And Porter or Looney, these guys are free agents. Like, you bring them back. You bring them back. I mean, you run it back. You run it back. Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, these guys, their contracts are up in a year. You figure out a way to extend it. The one thing that Joe Lacob has always said, he's the owner of the Golden State Warriors, they don't care about going way, way over the luxury tax. Like, I've heard their GM talk about this multiple times, where he said, hey, we got certain contracts that are up. I went to Joe Lacob and said, okay, these guys are up. What do you want us to do? Do we want to retool? How do we want to fit into a budget? And they've been on the record stating, no, you run it back. So my thing is, they're going to go over the luxury tax. They don't care. The amount of revenue they made this year alone off the Chase Center, their new arena, is like $100 million, right? So if you have that type of money, you bring everybody back and you do it the same way next year.
Not to mention the equity in the team goes up on top of it, right? Just the equity alone.
Yeah, when you talk about guys being paid, GP was
Gary Payton the second.
I always want to say the third.
The second,
the second. He's happy to be in Golden State. That's where he's from. He's from the Bay Area. So he's not, I mean, he wants to cash in. And at the end of the day, but when something about a team give you an opportunity, when you play for 9 NBA teams along with G League team, it's like I'm settled, man.
You're in that situation?
I'm in that situation. I can't keep bouncing around.
And that's a beautiful situation for him. And then Iggy's done.
Iggy's done.
He can be a coach or something.
But I mean, look, Mike Brown yesterday that did his presser for the Sacramento Kings. I actually agree with him. He said that De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis have a chance to be a top 3 pick and roll duo in the NBA. And I actually think he was right. So he leaves the bench. I would take Iggy, transfer him to the bench, because I think his role is imperative. You already saw him play that role this year in the way
coach,
he mentored, Andrew Wiggins, right? So you bring him to the bench as a coach. And now you bring back guys like Otto Porter, who's a legit defender. You bring guys back like Kevon Looney, who gave you pivotal moments of the playoffs. Like when he sat down Draymond Green, I think it was in Game 5, that was because Kevon Looney was playing his ass off.
Yeah.
He was playing extremely well, so he's giving you great minutes. So now, along with Gary Payton II, who applies great pressure in the ball, all the pieces are in place for Golden State to run it back.
And as long as they got those 4 on the floor, they're fine.
You know, it's
the 4 meaning Wiggins, Draymond, Steph, and Klay. They're good.
But what's interesting to me about Otto Porter, and I'm not saying he's this kind of player, but the situation, the Warriors, and this is, again, credit to Steph, credit to Kerr, and Bob Myers, but especially Steph, that you have guys on other teams who are a little bit miscast. Remember when Porter got that big contract in Washington, and they wanted him to be some kind of star, but he's just a good player in a certain role, right? So he gets a little bit miscast, but then on the Warriors, you're like, oh my God, perfect. It's almost like a luxury item. Iguodala wasn't just a luxury item. He was necessary for their success, but also like a little miscast as a 1, but perfect on the Warriors. They have this culture where they can absorb these players and put them in roles where it's almost like, damn, you got that guy doing that job? Oof, that's a lot.
It was like the New England Patriots of old, where they can go get something that somebody thought wasn't good, and all of a sudden you sit there, you go, wait a minute, man. This was a Pro Bowler for them. You gotta know your personnel. And coaches in the organization in Golden State clearly know their personnel and what fits for what they want to do.
Now here's
100%.
something interesting. If you do happen to lose Kevon Looney, right, because you're free agent, he's probably going to demand a hefty salary. If that doesn't fit into, even though I don't think there'll be a problem with Golden State going way over the cap, like they already have done it. But if you do happen to lose him, now you look at James Wiseman playing Summer League, you look at Kuminga, their roles expand, and then do you go to the free agent market and look at a guy like a JaVale McGee who has the experience that can come in and kind of teach the younger guys how to do it in spurts of minutes? You maybe look at a guy like a Mo Bamba who's out there, bring him potentially in. That may be a little bit extra, but I'm saying there are pieces that you can plug and play. You can play with that a little bit if you do happen to lose Kevon Looney.
Yeah, that guy you could find. You can find a rim protector big type like that just floating around out there in the street somewhere.
Yeah, a little athletic still, yeah, but maybe without the refined skill, but with experience to help the younger players. When I think of Wiseman and Kuminga, I think about this whole Warriors run. The one thing they didn't really have were athletic, big-ish type guys with upside, right? Like when they had Bogut, but they didn't have those springy, long rim defender type guys. They do now.
I don't think that they fit what they do, though. They didn't need that. It's almost like the triangle offense. They didn't need a center like that. They just go get a guy, Bill Cartwright, or Will Perdue, or Wilmington. Yeah, just them type of dudes.
But there's always a trade-off in life. There's no such thing as, oh, this team is perfect, right? Because every team ever will have a weakness. You tried, and when they went small, you would look at certain matchups and go, well, could they get muscled inside? Could they get beaten on the glass? Stuff like that. But if you have basically still prospects like Wiseman and Kuminga, that addresses that.
I'm going to tell y'all right now, I know people have not seen him for a full year, but I got a chance to go down to Memphis. Like, I've seen James Wiseman is a special player, man. Like, there's a reason why Golden State got very lucky in getting him, considering they finished with the worst record in the NBA 2 years ago. His ability to spread the defense and knock down shots, his ability to rim protect is different, and his agility and his footwork in the paint fit perfectly with the style in which the Golden State Warriors play. Like, he is the perfect comp big for the kind of spread offense that Golden State runs.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, they never had that guy, Key, because you can still play small ball, but with big guys if you can find them, right? How do you get a rim protector who can also shoot from distance? Because if you got that guy, you'd need the first pick in the draft to get. They had the first pick in the draft, right? They actually wound up with that guy. We don't know what it'll be yet, but potentially it's a lot.
Oh, it's a game changer. I mean, like I said before, you have all the pieces in place. Some of these smaller things, Key, if they happen to go awry, like if you happen to lose Kevon Looney, you can plug and play other pieces in there to